up settling on Retzlaff, who's their quarterback, who got kicked off of BYU, probably for soaking or something. I don't know. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Gator Theory podcast. Today is January 8th. It's 8 p.m. on a Thursday night. So we had our first portal weekend. I think we have 11. We're going to go over some of them. Defense on the screen right now. How you feeling?
Feeling great. I love to watch Texas fans cope. I love to watch the wannabe SEC fans realize that they don't have what it takes to hang out with the rest of us down here in the Southeastern Conference. Horns down, Jaden Baugh, 1,500-yard season incoming. Book the Heisman ceremony. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. Oh my God. Let's drink. Okay, but for real though, we're gonna go over defense first, right? So, it's funny, right? Because I think we're both on X. You can see that the people, there's archetypes. There's the people that will just melt down if it's not very, very positive news. There's the people that are quote unquote sunshine pumpers. Everything's a positive. I actually tend to be more on the sunshine pumping side. I'm not sure what you are.
I've been guilty of that before.
You're what?
I've been guilty of that many times. Yeah.
I know, right? If you can't have hope going into a season, I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right.
And then the story of the last couple of years, right? It's a lot of hope going into the season.
If you grew up in the Billy Napier era, you have to find ways to lie to yourself to make it through. Okay, so it's really interesting watching, right? Because Saturday comes around, I think, like the first day, whenever the first day of the portal was that Saturday? Right, we're kind of slow. We're still worried if we could retain our stars, which we did. And then it's like, that freaking cornerback that went to USC, John Tez Williams, right? He was like the highest rated target that we're going after. He's from like Stark, which is like somewhere around Ocala or something, like right outside of Gainesville.
Yeah.
Right, and then it's just a bunch of unheralded players, right? And then John Tez ends up going to USC. Apparently, they double the money. So we're a poverty program, we're unserious, we can't do anything. And that's how we started out. And fast forward 4 days later, even like the most negative fan is pretty happy.
For sure.
Why do you think there was is? Like, I have an idea. Why do you think
I kind of think it comes down to like, there were, I think, 5 players that were must keeps, right? Jaden Baugh, Dallas Wilson, VB3, Miles Graham, and Jaden Woods, right? And for a minute there, Miles Graham signed a long time ago, but it looked like we had 4 out of 5, which is pretty good, I think, for an incoming coach. And then you have the news, I think, last night of, there's a meeting with Jaden Woods. Like, that's good news. And then around 10 p.m., it's like, he's going to sign. So we have, an incoming head coach keeping all 5 of the people that I think the fan base kind of saw as non-negotiables, right? Like, these are our stars. These are the guys that we think have the highest upside as fans. And so when you can go 5 for 5 and really only have a couple weeks to recruit these guys and even to bring them back from the portal, like that's impressive.
Yeah, I think also it's the optics of it, right? Because if it was just like no drama at all, we just kind of we knew we were going to keep all 5 beforehand. I think people actually react a little bit differently. Like why aren't we getting like a star in there, right? But because we thought when we're talking the horns down, right? There you go. For Texas, right? Like Texas insiders knowing more than the Florida insiders of like what we're doing, all that
nonsense. Dallas,
it feels like
in the portal.
It feels like a bigger win, Now, last year going in, we also kept almost all our players, right? We kept Caleb Banks. Obviously we kept DJ. We flipped Dallas. Like there was a lot of hype going to last year. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't think there's anyone that we actually really wanted to keep that we lost in the portal. Also, so how come Sumrall is getting all this credit and Billy? We almost forgot Billy kind of did the same thing last year.
Yeah, and I think
sunshine pump for me,
sunshine
please.
Billy. Yeah, I'll sunshine pumper.
Okay.
All day, but the thing about it, I think, with Billy is that we gave him a lot of credit for that in the last episode about how he was able to retain talent for lackluster, performances. I'm talking about a guy that won an average of like 6 games a season, bringing in, crazy retention. Like these guys just won 5 games and you're going to bring them back and be like, no, this year we got it. And they listen every time. And I think we gave Billy a lot of credit. And I think maybe there was a question if Sumrall was going to be as good at retention and recruiting, right? Like this is the idea that maybe Billy was kind of a one of a kind recruiter, and that's why he did so well at recruiting. But I think if anything, it's kind of an indictment on Billy because it's not Sunbelt Billy, it's G5 Johnny now, and G5 Johnny is, I mean, putting belt to ass in the transfer portal. Like,
all right, all right, all right, all right. I get it. I get the hype. Okay, so on defense, we picked up 5 portal targets so far. 3 safeties. 3 safeties. We talked about this in the last one, right? There was one weak spot on the team, especially on defense. It was safeties. And we got rid of the ringleader, he who shall not be named, number 14. And we brought in 3. And then the other 2 were on the defensive line, right? Like we didn't need help at linebacker.
Definitely not.
We could talk about like the defense as a whole, but let's actually go over the safeties first. DJ Coleman, Cam Dooley, Elijah Owens. Thoughts?
I think you can kind of see the footprint of the player that Sumrall wants on defense in all 3 of these guys. They're a little tall. I mean, their average height, just Billy just like short safeties for some reason. So we have normal size safeties. They're big. You watch the tape. And I think
oh my God.
Something I noticed in the tape of all 3 of them, well, except for the JUCO guy, because I couldn't find any online, but they come downhill quickly, right? They're kind of the opposite of he who shall not be named. All right. Like I noticed they're making run fits aggressively. And obviously that can play to your detriment in the SEC with some of the backs you're going to play against, right? They might make you miss. But it was honestly, I didn't even know what I was looking at, right? Like I saw a safety actually going towards the offense and trying to make a tackle. It was insane, and they smoked some dudes. So I think what you're seeing here out of Sumrall, right, is he wants that defense that's going to be strong. They're going to plug the run fits. I think Sumrall as a guy, he played linebacker at Kentucky. He's going to want to have a solid kind of run fit defense, and then from there, I think. It's Florida. You're going to have fast guys out on the edges playing defense. Overall, I'm super excited to see some action, right? I want to see some Alfonso Allen Jr. type plays out there on the field.
Yeah, I would actually say it's interesting, right? Because DJ Coleman was the first one we got. I don't even know the actual portal rankings. Maybe
Number 11.
I think he probably has the highest portal ranking out of the 3. Like when we talk about Elijah Owens, his tape was the most exciting to me. If you can't find him, it's because it's listed as Eli Owens, ELI.
Yeah.
And then that video I showed you had like 300 views on it only. Right. So like, if you actually want to find some tape out, like this is, we joked about like the fantasy football draft strategy last time, like stars and scrubs. This is the ultimate like high upside, low downside pick. Like. This guy was playing at a JUCO, like Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College last year. And his only stat is just that. And like Brad White and Collins, or safeties coach now, when they're at Kentucky, they heard about this guy, identified this guy as whatever, recruited him, and then decided to, bring this gem over here. If he misses, how much money do we really pay for him? There's no way like we pay anything above whatever the minimum amount is, right? So like if you miss, it's fine. But his tape is, I'll tell you right now, out of the 11 that we signed so far, his tape is by far my favorite. 300 something views. Maybe our 10 viewers will go in.
Yeah, it makes you feel like a true college football maniac, right? When you're watching something that it's got clouds, like the camera's dirty, like you can't even see the whole field because the camera angle sucks. And
you're like, is this high school? Like, this is high school.
JUCO highlights, all right? Like you're a psycho. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so and then what about DK Kalu or Emmanuel Oyebadejo?
So going off of portal rankings, right? Like Oyebadejo is number 12. He's kind of one of the hottest commodities, right? On the defensive line. And then we bring in a guy like DK Kalu, who's 94th, a little lower down there. I think honestly, I'm very excited to watch Emmanuel Oyebadejo. We're gonna have to work on that one.
This guy is a specimen. He looks like a specimen.
I earlier was looking at his tape, and I saw a picture like of him from like ESPN or something, and it's like, God, that's like a bodybuilder out there. So I thought, let me look at Tyreek Sapp, because he was kind of jacked, and you could tell when he was out on the field. He was a big dude. So Oyebadejo is like 5 inches taller and like 30 pounds heavier than
Yeah.
Sapp. So, and Sapp was an animal, right? So to have a guy like that out there on the field who can play off the edge, he's a little slower, obviously, because he's huge, but he just he can move. He can move the offensive line with his
so this
immense
guy,
strength.
like the saying is like first one off the bus. Like you want your most impressive. Like I highly doubt we're gonna have a more physically impressive looking player here. Now the reason why he is ranked a little bit lower in my opinion is that he's a tweener, right? Like watching him in a Jackson State tape, he has good feet, and that's actually I'm going to talk about this next. John Sumrall has a type. For him, his big men all have to have good feet, right? So that means, and I like that, because if you have good feet, it's way easier to get stronger and bigger. Right? I mean, you can't grow taller, right? But you could actually get stronger and max out and put on weight. If you don't have quick feet, you don't have it. Like you can't develop quick feet. But Dejo, he's not very twitchy, right? He's not going to bend. He's not going to do all that crazy stuff. But he actually has pretty quick feet, and he's very, very active. So at that level, he's able to play edge. And then we don't know, right? Because if you're 6'7", let's say 315, 320, that's big enough to play inside. But 6'7" is really tall, right? I think like Gervon Dexter was like 6'6". I think that might be a little bit more. That was Mullen, and he was kind of struggling inside. I think partly because he was a little just too tall, right? But regardless, this is a very like high activity player. If he's starting for your team, let's just say he translates over, right? And he's starting with those attributes. He's not going to be a negative. He's just not going to be someone where the other team has to game plan for, like double team, right? He's just not that kind of player, right? But he's probably a better run stopper than a pass rusher, but just always like very high activity.
At the very
least,
DK
Kalu, go ahead.
Stick his arm out, and it's going to be like super long, block the running gaps. Yeah.
I mean, there's more football than that, but okay. Now DK Kalu is DK Kalu is the one that the first player I saw that got the most hate, right? Because he was like some unheralded 3-star, signed at Baylor. He redshirted his freshman year. Maybe he got in like a few games, maybe like 2 or 3, but had almost no stats. And then was like a backup and still had like minimum stats last year or this past season. Is a redshirt freshman year. So I think he's going into his third year. You have it on your screen, right? He's going into his third year. He has minimum. Yes.
Yeah, he's going to be a redshirt sophomore. Yeah.
Minimum production to show for it, and he wasn't rated highly, right? So fans are going to hate. The haters on the X are going to hate on it, right? So here, let me spin some sunshine for you, okay? You're not gonna. I couldn't find any college film on this guy, or like through YouTube.
Me neither. Yeah.
Right. You can find videos of him on Huddle, HUDL. If you guys never look on high school, you want to go stalk 15, 16, 17-year-old high school film. That's the way to go, right, on Huddle. Now, something jumped out to me on this Huddle film. That's where I kind of first started noticing this trend. He has very, very good lateral agility and very good feet. So not only does he have good feet, right? If he actually develops and hits his ceiling, whatever that is, he might never be big and strong enough, right? Because he didn't really show that power in high school. But he won't let people just blow by him. And when running backs he's very good at shedding his block, changing direction, and then just making the tackle. Okay, I can see why he's a 3-star, because like he just, even at a high school level, he didn't have a lot of punch. He's not like a big guy, right? And he's not going to be fast enough to play outside, so he has to play inside. But if he can actually get stronger, right, that lateral agility and that quick feet actually gives him a much higher upside than someone that was kind of just already physically very strong and big in college, but just doesn't have the feet, right? And like against a higher level competition, if you're just not fast enough. There's just nothing you can do, right? Like you're Desmond Watson, you're Terrence Cody, you're Mekhi Barrow. Like you need to eat up space on certain kinds of plays, but you're just not that high. So the other thing I notice, and if you look at on the defense, right, none of these players are in even their second year, much less a freshman. they're all in their third year, or even like going into their fourth year, right? Besides maybe Elijah Owens, I literally don't know anything about him. You can't find.
It depends on how you count the JUCO stuff, because
Yeah,
this is his
like
first year of like Division 1 power
yeah, he
football.
played.
Yeah.
He has like 1 year of JUCO stats. So is this his second year? I have no idea the history of this guy, right? But like Cam Dooley, uh, plays special teams primarily. His first season.
Yeah, all of his tape is
Yeah, exactly. His highlights are like fresh, and then like barely got some game tape, right? DJ Coleman played for special teams his first year, played sparingly his second year, and then actually started for the first time last year, right? But if you notice, right, most of these players already have like a lot of experience, and I might be giving away some secrets here, right? But whenever you're, for example, I like to make fantasy football analogies because I think a lot of us play it, right? What are some like high upside picks or like strategies you like to do to get picks, right? Especially if you're playing auction draft. A player who has a lot of upside but has their value suppressed because they were injured last year, right? That's Shantez Williams, right? Probably a round like a round 2 player that you could get at round 5 at a discount, right? That's what I think we thought we were going to get, and the USC swooped in and like doubled our offer. Fine, he took him away. What's something else you can do? You can, for example, draft very high upside handcuffs, right? So a handcuff is if you have a starting running back, well, a lot of them just get injured or they're just not as good as they are, and then the backup actually takes over, right? If you have a really high upside handcuff or you draft the backup, you can potentially get a lot of value. With Sumrall, right? He actually talked about this. I saw this on a Josh Pate interview. I think that's like the first interview that was out on Sumrall. He talked about how after Mensa went to Duke and he lost his quarterback, but then next year his strategy was to take 3 guys that have upside, like that are like not freshmen, right? Like that actually probably can be ready to play, but hasn't fully proven themselves yet, but has some upside to them, and have 3 of them compete. And I think like I forgot what he said. Like one guy ended up like getting in trouble and getting kicked off the team, and the guy got injured, and then they ended up settling on Resclaff, who's their quarterback, who got kicked off of BYU, probably for soaking or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was actually something.
Is that actually what happened?
I think it was.
Yeah.
If we're thinking of the same situation, it was.
Yeah. There's a lot of those rumors. I was just in Utah, and that was a common topic. But anyways, like, but the main point I was making was that before Resclaff came in, he actually had 3 guys competing that weren't necessarily like surefire things. Sounds familiar, right? By the way, but has enough upside, and like it's more likely than not that at least one of them is going to hit. And then the other ones, let's just say the ones that doesn't win the starting spot, if he's good enough to compete, even if the first one doesn't work out or gets hurt, you don't have that much of a drop off in the second one. So it's kind of a different strategy. Would you rather have like 3, I guess, like lighter shots in the bullet, or 1 like bigger bullet, but also his name is DJ Lagway, he could get hurt or right, whatever, and then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think at least with the safety room, like, I think Bryce Thorne plays competent football at safety, right? I think he's.
So this is for me, Bryce Thorne. We talked about this in another one. I want him to be like the worst you do.
Yes.
Like he's okay, right? He's nothing special, but he's like good enough at everything. There's no like glaring weaknesses. Like if he's your weakest player, your defense is pretty well balanced.
Yeah, that's perfect. So I think with that, him starting, probably taking Castell's spot, I guess, is like safety 1 between the 3 transfer safeties and players on the team. I think we have a decent chance of one of those 3 hitting, being starting caliber safety for us. I think safety play has been so atrocious anyways that honestly, if I just see someone actually make a tackle, I might call him the best safety in Florida history. Like, I mean, I was at the Alfonso Allen game in person, and you should have heard like the cheers when he smoked somebody, and we didn't care if he busted a coverage, right? It was refreshing to see. So I think in between the 3 guys we're bringing in, I think for sure one of them's gonna hit. And if they all 3 don't hit, then like that brings into question coaching for me, because
all 3 of them supposedly can hit. DJ Coleman actually on his film hit the had the least
the hardest
power in his tackles, right? But you could tell. I think Elijah Owens hits the hardest.
Oh, he hits the hardest. Yeah.
And he
But I
plays
think
at
that's that
JUCO.
JUCO that's that JUCO
Yeah.
lifestyle, bro. Like they're just
Yeah, but guess what? The
aggressive.
best, I
Like
think the
yeah,
best safety ever at Florida, Reggie Nelson. We got him out of JUCO. Just saying.
yeah. Like I have nothing against a JUCO player. I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Cam.
honestly,
Yeah.
I think it makes you hungry. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
he's
I
ready
like
to
it. Right.
eat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but DJ Coleman, I don't know if you knew this. I think he ran like a 10.66 in high school coming out.
on the
Like
two hundred. Yeah,
he has like the most I think elite athletic profile out of the three.
yeah.
But his film
And I
was the
think
least impressive to me.
his film, yeah, it was
Yeah.
like if I could have one word, it would just be like decent, right? Like he made tackles, but they weren't. You know, he wasn't hit sticking people. He moved quick enough, but you know, it just didn't seem like again mediocre, decent. Like I wouldn't be if he plays like that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, there's a glaring hole in our secondary. But you know,
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about
yeah,
this, right? As long as you don't have a glaring hole on your team, your floor is pretty high, right? With just like
exactly. Yeah.
competent coaching. It's when you have a right tackle that's like a statue, like the guys just like run right by him, and then what happens? What happens when like someone blows by your right tackle that can't even react in time, and just like destroys a quarterback? That's when like bad things really happen, right? Like if you're at
Yeah.
least like pretty competent everywhere, uh, more likely than not, the other team will shoot itself in the foot, and like you'll
Yeah.
actually just outlast them through consistency.
Then you have an Austin Barber versus Miami situation. You know.
I mean, sometimes Ruben Maine is amazing. Sometimes they're just really good. Like
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
know,
gonna. I'm
I can't even fault him for
I'm,
that. Yeah.
I'm not gonna like hate on friggin' Austin Barber for getting wrecked by like Cassius Howe like over at A&M or like Ruben Maine. Like you know what? He's good enough against most people, and then these two, at least Bain for sure, is like a top 5, top 10 at worst.
Yeah,
First round pick.
he's a maniac. I like every good football fan. I didn't believe the hype about my opposing team's, star
Yeah.
player. Like, oh, he's overrated.
Yeah,
Ate my words on that one.
yeah. So let's talk about the DB room for a bit.
Mhm.
What I would love to see is so Dijon, I think, is a good number 2 corner. Right at
Mhm.
this point, he's a little older. I think he's going to his 4th year. He's not the most athletic. He's like solid. He's like solid. He's like reliable. If he could stay healthy,
Yeah.
right? And then Cormani and Ben Hanks actually both have. They're actually very similar body type too. They're long,
Yeah. Twitchy.
very athletic. They have the profile of, and also the pedigree, like coming like a recruiting ranking to be a number 1 corner, right?
Mhm.
If one of those two becomes the like better than Dijon and is our number 1 corner, I would be very, very confident in our defense.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's one of these where what are the chances Cormani or Ben Hanks becomes better than Dijon this year?
I think, like you said, yeah, Dijon, great cornerback too. If he's cornerback 1, I am a little concerned. But I think I would not be surprised to see Ben Hanks take big steps this year. I think he showed a lot of promise against Florida State at the end of the year. And I think Cormani, has had a year in the system, and he definitely improved from the year that he was
He
a
did,
walk-on. He earned his
right? But
scholarship. He definitely
also,
improved.
yeah,
But how much more improvement is there? And I think he's serviceable too. Like he could be a good cornerback 2, cornerback 3. But I would love to see, and I would bet on Ben Hanks making the biggest gain out of the whole room. And maybe maybe one of the freshmen like
nah,
CJ
you're not gonna
Warner.
count. No, I wouldn't even
You know,
at this point, unless they approve it, I wouldn't count because they're not.
yeah.
They're not like can't miss 5 stars either. You know what I mean? Like they're
No, they're
fast,
not. Yeah.
athletic, but like it's one of those we talked about. Probably should actually focus on less in today's day and age.
Yeah. And I think, as long
Yeah.
as someone emerges, or maybe Dijon Johnson takes a huge stride, but I think he is a very serviceable corner. I just, like you say, I worry if he's cornerback 1 on the depth chart.
Yeah. So, sorry, actually, the audio cut out on the last part. But
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like, but it's back now. All right. So when it comes to safety, I actually would love it if Bryce Thornton is not starting. Because that means we
There's two
hit
players
either
better,
on some development or like some of the transfer portal, and we actually have two better safeties, right? I think I kind of skipped over it. Nickel, star, we weren't even sure like who, what kind of defense, like we're gonna play yet. I would love to see Javari Flowers there. Right, we talked about that. He hits hard. He's instinctive. He's one of probably our most athletic DBs, and like I just think his build. He's 5'10". Like it's like perfect for that position. And he loves contact, right? Like he actually would run fit really well by the disciplines there, but he actually physicality to do it. So I would love to see him in nickel. I would love to see someone beat out. Beat out Bryce Thornton, right? Yeah. And my person I would love to see beat out Bryce Thornton the most is Lagonza Hayward, right?
Yeah,
like Flowers, like Hanks, he flashed his freshman year, and when you flash, that's what you want to look for, right? Because you can see a glimpse of the upside, and then it's a matter of whether like physically like more development happens, something clicks in where you could do it more consistently. But like if a player isn't flashing, the upside isn't there, right? So Lagonza flashed, Ben Hanks flashed, Davari Flower flashed, and it's
who didn't flash in the safety room?
There's what's up?
I said, who didn't flash in the safety room?
Oh man, this audio is cutting it out. Say that again.
Who didn't flash in the safety room? Number 14, starting safety, right? They put in the backups, the freshmen out there.
Yeah, Alfonso Allen flashed.
The walk-on that earned his scholarship that week of that game.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
right. And there was he did okay for a freshman. He seemed to have good awareness, Castell, and then nothing. There was just almost like nothing out of him, which is what was so like infuriating. That he just kept getting out there, right? So I would love to see Lagonza starting, and then I don't care if Lagonza is starting, and may the best man win between Owens, Dooley, Coleman, Thornton, right? Yeah. Like that, I would feel pretty
enough in that collection of players that whoever emerges to the top, let him play. That's how I feel.
Exactly. And I'm just saying, my boy, I think the most underrated Elijah Owens is he lists himself as a defensive back on in Huddle, and like half of his highlight reel, he's actually playing cornerback.
Corner. And I think there's a receiving touchdown in there somewhere too.
Yeah. What about defensive line and edge? How are you feeling there?
I don't love how thin I don't want to say thin, but how thin the room feels, right? Like, we look at the edge room, right? You have LJ McCray, who I'm kind of seeing as he's going to put on some weight, maybe move over to the middle. So behind Jaden Woods and maybe Cameron James, I'm not a huge fan of the fact that we only have 3 guys after that. If we assume LJ moves over and then we have our 2 starters. Kofi flashed on special teams last year. He kind of ended up, I think, being a little disappointing as far as the expectations that maybe we had for him as one of those Billy, secret guys that we found in the portal. And then obviously the freshmen, maybe they'll be great, but edge is one of those positions I think where you need to have some experience. You need to put on some size. You need to hit some strength conditioning work. I think it's a very top heavy room, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And then, same thing with D-line. I think you go Mbachu, McLeod, Bet, Lyons are all serviceable guys, right? But I don't think there's a star among them, unless obviously one emerges. So, we kind of have to hope, I think, for one of the transfers to take a bigger load than you would like.
So
I
actually think we have 2 potential stars on our defensive line. I think McLeod and Mbachu both showed enough. And they're very different kind of players. Like, McLeod is very active. He's a little like twitchier. Mabachu is just strong. He is just a strong dude as a true freshman, right? So who knows if like that translates? But like for what I see, like I actually think McLeod has a higher upside. That room's okay, right? There's upside to me, especially with McLeod, and then like Bet, even like Lions, like they were okay last year. I
Yeah.
don't have it on here.
No
I
one
think
was bad. Yeah.
Brian Taylor actually came back. Brian Taylor, who looked like the second coming of Myles Garrett against the Texas Longhorns, right?
Yeah, he had a
He
flash. Yeah.
blew up that left guard, but then I don't think he showed much the rest of the year. But he did flash that one game, right? So like, if we were going into, and we talked about Kalu, who like he's one of these again. He's like the Elijah Owens of the D line. If he hits,
Yeah.
great. He's going into his third year, so like, he has enough time to physically develop now. Now he's an upperclassman. Who knows? Maybe. If not, we'd probably pay minimum for him, right? But if we went into the season right now with this line, it feels like we don't have enough. But like, I would actually be comfortable with Mabachu, McLeod, Bet, Lions, and then you just need one of Gerbil, Kalu, or Oyaba,
One more to
Debo,
hit. Yeah.
to actually just be serviceable or good enough, right? And then you have like a 5-man rotation there.
Yeah.
So like, obviously injuries and stuff, but like, it's not like it's a glaring weakness, right? Like if you start getting 2 injuries, maybe, but again, in any position, if you have 2 injuries as starters, you start getting uncomfortable.
That's true.
Right.
I think my fear is bigger for the edge room because you have Jaden Woods, the freak, right?
Right.
Like they snap the ball and he's got his offensive lineman 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and he looks small. It's ridiculous. Like, and I don't know if it translates on TV, but like in the stadium, he engages with these blocks and it's like Superman, right? Like there's just nothing you can do. Even if he doesn't beat his man, they're going this way. Like,
listen,
it's crazy.
Okay. He was very promising for a freshman. I don't know
No, you don't understand. If you go back, watch the replays, every snap, he doesn't even he doesn't generate pressure. He doesn't get sacks every single, obviously.
Yeah.
But every time, he's so fast off the line. He's so twitchy. You can tell that he's just an explosive athlete. Like, he engages aggressively and quickly from the snap.
I can tell you, he does. I think he's actually, if you had to rate value, he probably has the highest value out of the top, right? Beating Ball, Dallas, VB3. Like, he's the highest position in need, but also what he is already elite as is his presence on the field, awareness, and I can't think of one time where he did something wrong. Like, he almost always makes the right play.
As a freshman too, yeah.
Yeah, and as a freshman. So, the logical progression is okay, if you already get the game at that high of a level, what if you actually have another off season and just that experience under your belt? It's very, very common. Here's another trick. When a player starts for the first year, right? If this is your first year starting, do you think you're going to be tip top right away, from the beginning? Probably not, right? More likely than not, you start out as a little inconsistent. Sometimes inconsistent. Sometimes maybe you won the job halfway through the season, right? Yeah. And then you kind of turn it on the second half. So if you see Caleb Banks, his second half last year was very different from the first year, right? But if you look at, for example, his PFF grade, it's going to reflect the whole year and not just the second half of the year, right? So a lot of time the context comes in for Jaden Woods. He started out from the beginning and he was already playing like a vet, right? And I think for him, just getting a little stronger, not even stronger, because I get all these crazy weightlifting numbers, right? But just almost getting a little bit more connected in your body, where all of that translates over, because you can see glimpses of it, but it's okay, if you already have the precedent and we could see glimpses and the weightlifting numbers, all of that stuff is there, right? What's the next step for this to just translate and you turn into Myles Garrett?
At least for me, what I noticed is that he kind of lacked I don't want to say lacked, because obviously star player, but the pass rush technique seemed almost to be he had that explosiveness and he had that power off the line, but he didn't necessarily know what to do with it, right? So he's engaging these blocks, he's sending these people backwards, but look at the stat line. I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's not he was getting a crazy amount of sacks.
Honestly, it could be the scheme, right? Because like I think a third of the snaps Jaden Woods played, he actually had to drop back in coverage.
Yeah.
And if we're, who knows, right? Maybe his responsibility. Well, he's very good at setting the edge, right? But also, like,
Very
what
good.
is his responsibility? And I actually would believe Ron Roberts would do this. Is for him to actually kind of play this like, his goal isn't just to actually get to the quarterback. His goal, his role, a lot of times is to actually play contain and set it up so someone else could beat their guy and get in. Like, we don't know, right? But like,
and honestly, yeah, you're right. That would be something that I wouldn't even be surprised by.
Yeah. So he's someone I think we're all really excited about, right? Logical, like logical star potential. I think on defense, do I not have linebackers on here?
You do not have linebackers on here.
Okay. Well, we already know, right? We're starting Graham. We're starting Childs. We didn't pick up anyone else. I think Ty Jackson we're bringing back, who probably has like the most impressive tape out of any of our recruits from last year. And then Miles Johnson, who is an athletic freak. I forgot if it was whether it's 100 or 400 meter. It's like he's running it like a fast like DB, coming from like a linebacker, right? I think those are our top four right now. And then who knows? We might add another one, but on defense, that's like that. Miles Graham last year was probably like a top 15-ish linebacker. You accept another step forward, right? Jaden Woods had a lot of potential, but I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even say he was probably like top 50-ish.
Yeah.
Edge.
Well, like I was
just
saying
productive,
before,
like just like as a player last year, right? The potential's there.
But before we got distracted by Jaden Woods, it's like behind him, right? And assuming he takes that step to become the star edge player, behind him, I think LJ McCray is not a disappointment, but not what we were expecting. And I think Cam James is probably going to be the other starter on the other side. Behind them, I'm not comfortable with kind of the lack of depth in that room. I think
I've heard a lot of good things about Wiggins.
He's young, so I guess we have to go and see. But because here's what I picture, right? Is we kind of, maybe this is a battered Gator syndrome, right? Injuries all over the field.
Have it. All you know is the Billy era.
Yeah, and so I picture a world where three guys go down in that room, and we're down to freshman KJ Ford, and then disappointing transfer Kofi Asari as starting edges, and it's like we're not going to affect the quarterback. I mean, not that KJ Ford is bad, right? We haven't seen anything, right? But you can't expect a freshman to succeed at the SEC level at the edge unless they're a freak. So and obviously I don't want anyone to get injured, but I just worry that if someone does go down, especially if you have Woods, right? Like he's buying away, assuming he progresses, your best edge player. What happens when he goes down, right? We have like a Caleb Banks situation where all of a sudden the D-line can't do anything.
But like, I mean, here's like the reality of it, right? Like, I think like with the transfer portal, and we talked about this, you almost have to go like primarily too deep, and then like selectively like in the 3 deep have say like a safety that can also like moonlight as a DB in a pinch, right? Maybe you have like the Oye Dejo who could play inside and probably play outside, so he has like position flexibility. You just don't have enough money to pay players.
That's true. You can't pay.
So like if your top guy goes down, like your third guy should be serviceable, but you also are kind of wasting money and just straight up production if you're spending almost like above like a bare minimum amount on a third string, right? Like I think what you're spending looking for a third string is okay. This guy is at least like not such a weak link that I can't play defense anymore. Like this guy on O-line on the third string, like we can at least still kind of do. But when you're getting your third string tackle, how many teams in the country are actually going to even get a function against like any high level team? Right. So I mean, like the caveat,
the days of stacking 5 stars on your bench is just
I think the caveat for any of this is like everything is like very injury dependent, which it was already before. Like you just can't lose star players and not have it kind of wreck your team, right? Like. You got to pray to get lucky with the strength conditioning, but then also strength and conditioning. Maybe for the first time,
football, people are going to get hurt.
First time in 3 years, we'll actually have an injury report less than the opposing team.
I hope so. Fingers crossed, right? Week 1 against FAU, they better be blank, right? No one's getting hurt off.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.